Hello, everyone. This is Jorge Navarro, TSM for Latin America. And here with me is my partner and friend, Pedro Valdez, who is an installer sales specialist for UNIRAC in Latin America, sorry, and US. So today we are going to have an incredible webinar about one of our ballast systems to Caribbean and Central America, where we were able to see our all the advantage of this product. So please, here to my partner Pedro.
How's everyone doing? Pleasure to meet you guys. Can you hear me clearly or no?
Yes, my friend.
All right. Let's go. Well, first things first, we're going to talk GridFlex 10 and its advantages and the reason why it's one of the best or the most, highly seeked out products out there in the market. And it's due to its weight distribution, lighter, and of course lower counts of mechanical attachments. Right. We have 7 different options on the flat roofs, but seems to be the one that we are focusing in on due to its advantages, its key features as far as service and just ease of install, lower skew count, like I said, lower penetrations to the roof, and lower block count as well due to the load sharing. This is the nice comparison guide that we have for our flat roof options. Will be available for you guys to take a look and review to see which one of our products works best for your project. We pretty much detailed everything as far as pros and cons, and we were pretty honest. So this is a really good guidance for you guys to review, and before you choose a product, you can compare and contrast based on our ratings here. Moving on, we'll actually talk GridFlex and its specific advantages. If we move on to the next slide, Jorge. All right. Let's see if there's a volume on this. So, of course, our motto, better solar starts here. I'm glad you guys are working with us. Glad you're choosing UNIRAC, and I'm sure we will find a solution that you guys will be happy with and that we can help your installers streamline the projects to complete, on time and under budget when we can. As you guys can see here, we're giving you a visual, an overview of the sleek, aesthetically pleasing look of this new grid system that we have here. Once we get to the components, I'll break down each different component as far as like the 3 different rails that we have and how they come together. As you can see here, the value props that they're talking about, it minimizes the ballast points and attachments, which I had mentioned already. You have 3 different options for inner row spacing. And the good thing about this product is that it eliminates or takes out some of that thinking and planning that you guys would normally do with a tape measure out in the field. So our rails are stamped, and it has the measurements on each side. So as long as you guys are like sticking or adhering to the plan set, if it's calling for a 13-inch in a row spacing or an 8-inch or a 17, it all depends. The markings or the stampings will be on the rails. You just have to make sure that whoever you have installing that or putting that together is being consistent, because any discrepancy between the measurements is going to take your system out of square. So that's something that's definitely good to keep in mind. The secured connections makes the install really simple. A lot of the thinking gets out of the equation because all of our torque specs are at 12 foot-pounds, which makes it, like I said, really easy for a QA QC to come by and come behind the guys and just with a torque limiter verify that everything is per manual or per install guide. We're cutting costs and not corners. Like I said, we have toolless wire management, and then with the pop the hood feature that we have, if ever you need to come back for a service in the future, you don't have to disassemble and take off panels to service your micro, to service whatever the case may be, whether you're changing the ballast count due to a revision, whatever the case may be, it's accessible to you. You can actually access it without taking modules off. You just untighten your north stanchions and pop the hood open on the module, and you're able to access the wires, the micros, blocks, whatever the case may be, even the rails if you have to make adjustments there. The clamping zones is one of the things that made this system superior to everything else out there, is that you're always within that green clamping zone of the module manufacturer, so you don't run that risk of cantilevers, exceeding cantilevers on these projects. And with our L1, L2 spacing and spacer jig, we streamline the service for you guys to be able to do that consistently without having to pull out your tape measure, after you have your measurements squared away. Once you have your spacer jig in place, you're just going to interlock it with the rails, verify that you're exactly where you need to be, and we move forward to putting on glass. More modules on your roof. So as you can see, you have 9% tighter row, inner row spacing than the competing 10-degree systems out there in the market. You have the 3 options, like I said, for inner row spacing. The torqueable and checkable universal clamps are all at the same torque spec, which makes it really easy. And we're also UL 3741 certified. And last but not least, our wind deflectors. I have seen a really big or really good feedback in the field because it's actually really strong. So it requires, there are particulars on how to install them. Like for instance, on your very first east and west panel, the wind deflector will touch 2 north stanchions, but everything in between, we're going to make sure that it's touching 3 north stanchions. And what that does is it shares the load. So it requires less ballast, less blocks on your system, which keeps it lighter, and a really clean finish. Moving on, Jorge. Let's see here. Okay. So we'll go over some of our components here. The ballast rail is our new ballasting mechanism. So instead of having a ballast tray like we did before, where guys are running, you have pinch points there, or it just makes the system that much heavier. This makes it lighter. You have 2 orientations for your ballast rails. They can go in either portrait or landscape. Which makes, again, the install really easy, really simple, because now if you need to make any adjustments, you just disengage that bolt and move it to the stamped slotted area on your rail, and it's all being called out. So it's really intuitive. Not much of a learning curve there. But if you need the assistance, we're here to help. I can come on site or have one of the guys come on site to support you guys. Hold your hands through the first install. We'll come at midpoint or even at the end of the project to give you guys a walkthrough, a QA, QC, and we'll give you guys that vote of confidence. The North clamp is a top-down torqueable clamp. It's adjustable, so as you're putting the module down, you can adjust it back to make it slide on and off the module frame really easy. The south clamp is installed with a clevis pin, so pretty much toolless. It's going to be a simple install, and again, you could only install it but where the slots are, so it's really intuitive. Not a lot of learning curve for the guys to go through. As you can see down there, the installation aids, that's basically the stamping on the rails that's going to determine your width and where you're going to align your rails, your mid with your south and your south with your north, so on and so forth. So there are 2 ways to determine your measurements. And as you can see, on one side, you'll have, let's say, your 8-inch inner row spacing, and then on the opposite side, you'll have the 13-inch in a row spacing. You just got to make sure that you follow the plans and that you keep it consistent in order to make sure that the array stays squared. The north-south wire management clips, again, requires no tools. It slides directly over the rails. You're able to keep your PV wire protected and pass all your inspections. We haven't had any issues as far as or feedback, negative feedback, and it's with the install. It's pretty easy to slide over the rail, and it just pries open. And you slide your PV wire in, and it keeps everything neat and out of any sharp edges. So no need for edge guard. We took this into consideration and took all the pain points that were out there in the market and tried to make a better product for you guys to make the experience a good one. Moving on. This is a south clamp, like I was saying, no tool required. It's just a clevis pin that's going to slide from one side to the other. Doesn't matter which side you guys decide to insert the clevis pin from. East or west, serves the same purpose. It does have the clamp there that you see sliding up and down. This is what's going to engage with the modular return flange, allowing you to stand up the array, or excuse me, the module when you need to service the system. It has the bonding pin, as you can see, that also carries the bond. So a lot of guys ask, how is this bonded? Well, our south clamps have the bonding clips installed or included with them, so you guys don't have to worry about grounding lugs for this system. Let's see here. Okay, the top down clamp is pre-assembled on the Nord stanchion. This is the only component that you would have to touch or remove when doing any O&M. And that also has the pins for the bonded connection to the module, so it carries it east-west as well, north-south, and this is where the L1 and L2 spacing really comes into play, because you're going to want to keep those cantilevers and your clamps within those green clamping zones of the module manufacturers. Okay, the ballast rails, again, this is going to be stamped on the rails themselves for you guys to install. So this is not something that takes up a lot of time. You just have to verify with your plan set whether the ballast rails are going to be in portrait or landscape. They'll be in portrait anytime you're going to exceed a block count, whether it's over four blocks, or you're just having to double up on rails as well. So like, for instance, anything 4 and under, you're going to go with landscape orientation. But once the ballast count increases, you're going to have to widen the ballast rail. So it's going to go into your portrait, and that's when you're able to go from 4 to 6 to 8, so on and so forth. But you have to keep in mind that if you're going to go, I believe it's anything over 6 blocks, you're going to have to double up on your ballast rail. So you just, instead of having one on the south side and one on the north, you'll have 2 on both. We can move on to the next one there. These are some of the pictures just to show you guys a finished product of our GridFlex 10 with the load sharing and with the Nord stanchions touching 3 clamps. Like I said, the very east and very west are going to touch just 2 Nord stanchions, but then moving on in between for the load sharing, you're going to make sure that those wind deflectors are touching 3 Nord stanchions. That keeps your block count down and your mechanical attachments down as well. Wire management, pretty simple. Like I said, these clips don't require a tool. They slide on to the rail and to the ballast rail. Really simple. It's just prying into place, and then you can mount your PV wires in there. Sometimes you could use a zip tie to prevent it from laying on the roof. But these wire management clips seem to do the trick just fine if you use S clips to transition from module frame to the bracket here. And then the home run protector, again, doesn't require a tool. It just slides over the rail, the mid rail point, and you can just slide your PV wires in there and keep them protected. These are pictures or options for the mounting of your optimizers or micros. I've seen guys, it's very common to see the optimizers or micros being mounted onto the module frame. But with the pop the hood capability that you have now, I've seen this this form of mounting it become more popular. So they're mounting it to the Nord stanchion. That way, they just have to pop up the module, and now they have access to everything right on the stanchion. And then, as long as your leads are long enough to plug back in, you're all set. It just makes life easier to further O&M team. Now, Tiger clips is usually what's being used on site, or the MLPE mounts, especially when you're keeping it 3741. So this would be your option here to stay within code.
Hey, Pedro, we have a question right here. They are question about warranty. What's the warranty of the system and all the UNIRAC products?
Well, we have a 20-year warranty. Our products are tried and true. And as you can see, we've been in the market we've outlived our warranty. So you guys have no worries there. We definitely, we stand behind our product. This is our mechanical attachments. We have an H clamp that makes life really easy. It's adjustable. You can go from the top or the bottom. It all depends on if you have any undulations on the roof. But it's really simple. Flash Lock RM is also our product for your mechanical attachments. And this is something that you will see, just not as often as you would with any other product out there in the market, because of our load sharing capability. So you will have some, but not as many as you will with other competitors. So that's another advantage that we have here. It's going to be minimized mechanical attachments, but we have the right components for you guys to make those attachments when it's called out.
Yeah, and again, it's important to mention. Oh, sorry, man.
I was just going to say, if ever they need, whether it's a cut sheet or training on a specific attachment point, we got you guys covered. We have videos we can share with you guys. Or like I said, with enough time, we can have someone come out on site and walk you guys through this, through these best practices in the field.
Yeah, and as Pedro said, it's important to mention that this product was designed for high wind areas. So this is a perfect product in the Caribbean, because with the wind deflectors in the north areas, we can minimize the attachments and also the weight on your roofs. So also, you can install with a low carb installation and preparation, and minimize pieces for this product. And you can find all the UNIRAC catalog with the Mako team for all the location, all the countries around the Central America and Caribbean.
Absolutely. Load sharing really makes it the lightest system out there, as far as light and strong at the same time. So the wind deflector seems to be the biggest feature. And this is feedback from the installers in the field from my trainings. In comparison, I hate to mention competitors, but in comparison to, okay, won't mention their name, but the thing is, our wind deflector is really, really strong, really rigid. I was up there on very windy days with the guys on, the FedEx building, just for an example. And there was absolutely no rattling. We have a new adapter, or a new wind deflector end clamp now that attaches the wind deflector to the module frame on your very east and very west of the array, which has made it that much stronger. I mean, the feedback that I'm getting is, Pedro, this thing does not rattle. We don't get callbacks for noisy wind deflectors on the roof. And when you're up there installing them, there is no rattling. It's like the wind is not there. So it really does. It gives you confidence. You get peace of mind when you go home at night, thinking that, high winds is no longer a concern.
Yeah, so I think it's a pretty cool product for all the area, as I mentioned before. And right now, will give you 5 minutes, 7 minutes for you guys to shoot your questions. You can shoot by question and answer box or maybe in the chat area. So we will wait for your questions. Come on, guys. Okay, well, if you don't have any questions right now, feel free to contact us or make us team. And that's it. Pedro, thanks a lot for your help.
Anytime.
Medical team, Natalia, Laura, thanks for your time. And see you soon.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.